G'day, battlers, and Silph just could not let a single month go by without throwing us something to do, and they have certainly done that this month. So instead of having a new ×10 weighted Silph tournament to do, we're going to have one of 4 retro themes from Season 2 to kind of do as we please. So the Silph team has reworked them to use kind of the Pokemon updates that have happened since those cups were held, so that it's a little bit more fresh, it's a little bit more fair and balanced. So the 4 cups this month are going to be the Sinister Cup, the Ferocious Cup, the Timeless Cup, and the Sorcerer's Cup, with a couple of changes here or there. So I'll be making a meta simplified infographic for each of these metas, so if you are looking for one of the other 3, do subscribe and maybe even hit the notification bell if you want to make sure that you'll see them, because YouTube is funky on that sort of front. But yeah, if you are watching this video later than the day it was uploaded though, they might already be out. So I'll put links up in there, up at the top right, if they are out. If they're not, or you can just go to the YouTube channel. They'll all be on the uploaded videos thing. But yeah, with all of that out of the way, today we're going to be diving into the rework of the first Silph Cup of Season 2, the Sinister Cup. So the original Sinister Cup allowed Pokemon with the Ghost, Psychic, Steel, and Fighting typings, and banned any Pokemon with the Dark typing, Mythicals, Skarmory, and Hypno. So Sinister Cup 2.0 has a couple of changes, and that will be you're allowed to bring 5 specific Dark types. So Shiftry, Murkrow, Honchkrow, Crawdaunt, and Sharpedo are now eligible for the Cup. There's also a few new bans, so you're not allowed to use the recently buffed Drifblim. Legendaries like Cresselia are banned, as well as Galarians and Shadows who weren't around at the time. They're just not being allowed into the meta this time around. So let's actually just get into what you came here for and look into what this new meta looks like. So this is the very broken down and simplified depiction of the new Sinister Cup. There's a lot of similarities to the old version, but also some very key differences and a few intricacies kind of here or there that I've omitted. But let's just go through all of that now. So we will start in the middle, because that's the biggest change of the whole meta, because it's got both the number 1 and the number 3 ranked Pokemon according to PvPoke. So you can probably assume it's going to be important, and that's because the lack of a Dark type back in October kind of let the Ghost types run around a little bit more free. This introduction of a hard counter in those Dark types in the form of Honchkrow and Shiftry kind of means that the Ghost types aren't going to have as easy of a time this time around. So on top of beating the Ghosts, they're also going to beat Empoleon, lose to the tanks, and their fighting matchups are a little complicated. Shiftry just straight loses to the fighters, no questions, but Honchkrow beats all of them with the flying typing except a couple here or there. So the big one, and the one that's on this image here, is Primeape. So a single close combat from Primeape is actually enough to one-hit KO Honchkrow. So I can only imagine that that's going to happen a few times in this cup throughout the month. That's definitely going to shift a couple battles. There'll be a Primeape just coming out at the end. Honchkrow's going to come in and just get hit by a close combat, and that is going to be GG's, lights out for Honchkrow. So yeah, that's definitely going to be happening. And you can also probably guess, Honchkrow, it's going to beat Shiftry. Grass doesn't like flying. It's simple as that. So yeah, after going through those matchups though, it's probably best to move over to those fighting types in the bottom right. So Primeape and Machamp are the 2 highest ranked fighters, but there's also other ones like Metacham, Hitmontop, Toxicroak. They're also running around in the top 15, but this infographic has been made with these 2 specifically in mind. So they absolutely wreck the tanks, as fighting beats Steel, it always does, and similarly it beats Empoleon because it's got that Steel typing as well. So they're generally losing to the Ghosts. There's one sort of exception that's around, but we'll talk about that when we get to the Ghost types. But first we'll circle around back to the top up to the Steel typing in the top right. So Bastion and Steelix, and I didn't actually have to move them from the original infographic. They're in the exact same spot, so I just thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, they're pretty simple. They lose to the fighters, and also Empoleon with its kind of heavy water damage coming in with the Hydro Cannons just really destroys their Steel types. And then they also beat up the Dark types, and for the most part they beat the Ghost types. There is that little pink arrow on the arrow from the Ghosts towards the Steels, and that's because Dusclops beat Steelix in the standard PvPoke matchup, but it's kind of really tight. Dusclops needs to successfully shield bait with a Shadow Punch, and then land 2 Fire Punches and another Shadow Punch just to take out Steelix, a turn before a crunch comes through and finishes off Dusclops. So there's a turn in it. You need to have the correct move shielded. It's a little rough. So for the most part, Steels are going to be coming out on top, and I would kind of just assume that Steelix is going to win that matchup, but it's rough, it's tight. We'll see how it plays out as the month goes on. But around to the other Steel type, which is also pretty straightforward, Empoleon, who is losing to both of the Dark types and to the fighters, and then going to beat their Steel types and most of the Ghost types. So Empoleon actually ties with Alola and Marowak. They've got a flat 500 PvPoke rating, which means a tie. It's not a win or a loss either way. So it could definitely go to either Pokemon, depending on what the situation is. But on top of that, there's actually one extra exception, the same one that we mentioned kind of earlier that we'll get to when we get to Ghostfield. But I also probably should have mentioned that Empoleon is running the brand new Drill Peck alongside the Community Day Hydro Cannon. Just figured I'd throw that out there so you're not using your Flash Cannon, Hydro Cannon. I mean, you can, but go for Drill Peck. Just gives you a little bit more in this cup. So the last group is those ghost types in the bottom left with Alolan Marowak and Dusclops. And that is a Hex Alolan Marowak instead of Fire Spin. The newly buffed Hex just kind of does wonders in this fighter and ghost friendly meta. So we've gone through all of the basic matchups already in the rest of the video, but just to recap, they're beating the fighters, they're losing to the Darks, losing to the Steels, and losing to Empoleons. So that, on the surface, it actually looks like the ghost types aren't very useful. So kind of, why are they still here, right? So obviously they beat the fighting types. Being an important counter to the fighting types is, it's important. Fighting type is good. You need something to counter that. Ghost types can do that. But on top of that, the thing that really makes the ghosts kind of stand out is that they're really good counters to basically everything outside of the main meta. So Pokemon like Ferrothorn, Claydol, Gardevoir, like kind of dudes that are just outside of this top of the top, that are on this infographic now, they kind of beat those. So I should actually also, back to that extra asterisks that I was talking about before, Frostlass, the super Pokemon of the Sorcerer's Cup, is back, and the reason I didn't put Frostlass on this infographic is because it plays out a little bit different to the other ones. It beats Empoleon as opposed to losing and tying in Marowak's case, and it doesn't actually beat all of the fighters because it actually loses to Primeape with the straight Night Slash. So it's kind of an interesting thing there, but yeah, it doesn't beat the fighters, which kind of like, it's sort of Ghost's role. So Frostlass plays a little bit different. Not that it's like bad, because Frostlass is such a good Pokemon. If you land a charge move on anything, no matter what it is, it's going to do some damage. So yeah, that's just something to look out for, something you can kind of use. It can do some massive, massive damage anywhere it goes. So yeah, that's the Sinister Cup 2.0 simplified. It's obviously still another 3 newish metas to make infographics for. So if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe so that you know when those are coming through. I'm not sure what my plan is after those videos are out. I'm not sure if we're going to do some battle videos. Actually, comment below. Let me know what you kind of want to see over this month. Actually, also, I'm going to put a poll on Twitter as to what infographic I should focus on making next. So if you want to go follow me on Twitter, that link will be in the description below too. Yeah, I'll put that poll out. It'll be out for like 24 hours after this is uploaded. Yeah, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, especially that subscribe one, and I'll see you in the next video, whichever infographic it may be. Or maybe we'll like do battle video, like, meta battle. I don't know, just let me know what you want to see. And also thank you to my patrons, Milton1458, brajSF, Ben10, Not Running You, and Yahwertle and SqeakyNL for supporting the channel. And thank you to the people on Twitch, Sadiefu for making that brilliant emote for the channel, and to Raid44 Maze for the 5 subscriber gifts. And yeah, now, bye.